Hey guys, and welcome back to the finale of Mega Man X. We've bested all the Mavericks, so it's time to take on Sigma himself. But we've got a fair few stages to get through before Sigma rears his ugly head. And what's Zero got to say here?
I understand completely. Essentially, it's like we've got to go after Sigma now, that kind of thing. We had that very brief cutscene after we beat Stinkomedian. It was just the follow-on. Zero wasn't expecting us to go and get our super OP weapon, so, you know.
Can't you get Zero's sword in later games, Snake?
Yeah, Zero doesn't get a sword until Mega Man X2, but in X3, if you do a certain accomplishment or achievements, then you can have Zero give Mega Man X the sword by basically defeating a mid-boss in one of the final stages.
Okay. There was a really weird segment at the beginning of X3, and I don't know if we'll ever cover X2 and X3, but if we do, it'll probably be like the same group of commentators like me, Flame, and Snake. And you just play as Zero at the start for like 2 minutes, and then never again. It's really, really weird. It sticks out like a sore thumb.
Well, I think you can actually unlock Zero to play during certain parts, can't you, though, Snake?
Yeah, you can actually call Zero in during certain parts of the game and play as him.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I think that's what they were trying to tip you off to, but you clearly didn't see.
Well, I resign. I no longer run HellfireComms. It's now Mega Man Comms. Snake, you're in charge.
Believe it's here. A little while ago, Axel showed me a cool little skip that you can do where you can like go through that door without touching the floor, and it doesn't actually trigger the next cutscene, so you can just sort of sneak past it and go straight to the fight.
Oh, okay, a speedrunning strat then.
Which is pretty cool. This is gonna be a repeat of the first phase with Vile, like at least the first part here. Although, because we've got way more health now, it's going to take even longer for him to just smack us to a pulp and freeze us.
So you're just like trying to prompt him to send out his paralysis ball, so to speak.
Yeah, like, dude, come on, kill me already.
You can do it, Mega Man. I'm just going to stay here in this cage. Go, Mega Man.
I'm dressed in green, I'm easier to spot, come get me. I don't know what it actually is that prompts him to do the paralysis thing. I think you have to get below a certain health threshold. And that's why I'm just diving into him here, idiotically.
Haha, I'm taking you down easily, X! Haha!
I am the smart one. I'm intentionally letting you beat me up.
Haha, he ran right into my attack. I am the greatest Maverick Hunter. I think. Wait a minute, no. I'm a Maverick. Hey, get off my back!
I do just love that little animation of Vile when he's back then. He put him down like an inch or so away from where he picked him up from. Like, you, over there.
Chaozu, no!
Zero died, which, you know, that's a thing Zero does from time to time. You'll get used to it.
Oh, so that's why he's called Zero then. That's his life expectancy.
That's harsh.
That's mean. But I would actually liken that to what they called Japanese warplanes in World War II. They called them Zeros.
Huh.
Were they the ones that just went into the more dangerous sort of environments?
They were the ones that did kamikaze attacks.
Oh, okay. I thought they were just called kamikazes. Huh, you learned something new.
This guy, he sort of, you give him the Boomer Kawanga treatment, just jump over him and shoot these things. He does get a little bit more tricky because he's actually got the ground pound things. You see there, it just rolls on the floor. So just keep yourself mobile is usually the best option here.
Why don't you just, like, friggin' Hadouken him? Could you not, like, input the combination correctly?
You could, but I'm not that reliable with it. I will show off the Hadouken in this front, but this guy, I just thought he's so easy. I might as well just, you know, do the thing.
You call him easy. I died the first time.
I just use the fireball for pretty much all the final bosses. That is, if I have all of my health.
Yeah, well, that's what sub-tanks are really for. Taking, like, a pip of damage, bringing it back, because you do need full health to use the Hadouken.
Which I suppose is the way to make it somewhat manageable so you don't completely break the game with it.
Oh, and right here, this moment, There is a statue of a moment in the manga where X holds a dying Zero in his arms, and it looks very cool. I want it someday.
Yeah, I just want to remember the day that Zero died. You know, it was a beautiful day. The sun was shining. The bees were singing for some reason. I don't know. They were robot bees. They'd stolen that ability from the fucking birds. And what's going on here exactly?
That is the fully powered up chameleon sting weapon. It makes you camouflage and the enemies can't hit you, and it is really useful in them corridor sections, and I think that was what they were prompting you to do with it really there, with how tightly packed it is.
Well, to clarify, it's like you can take an attack that does like 1 hit of damage, I believe, so basically enemy stuff, really, not bosses and so on, although I may be incorrect in that assumption, and yeah, just abuse it if you've got it.
Essentially, yeah, that's the deal with basically any weapon you get unlockable. But yeah, in this game we do get the return of the Mega Man 1 sort of format, boss rushes, where instead of just having the sort of 2 to 10, everyone's in a room and you go through them one at a time, in this you sort of work through the Sigma stages and you encounter them in little chunks.
Yeah, I prefer it like that, honestly.
It is a way of sort of dividing up the repeated content. It's not just like, let's repeat what we've done already in one batch. It at least gives you a chance to do something new in between the recycled bosses.
Yeah, of course they'd go back on that in fucking... I think it might have been X2, but it was definitely in X3.
Yeah, X2 brings back the teleport to a room thing, annoyingly. Bow Spider here, he is weak to the ice weapon, but I tend to alternate between that and a fully charged Buster Shot.
Okay. This minigame was in Mario 64 DS, I believe.
Yeah, I actually think some of them minigames were actually pretty cool. Like, well, I do remember that really soppy loves me not one with Yoshi picking the flowers off the petals off the flower.
Hey, he loves me, okay? You stay away from me, you slut.
Well, not saying anything about his tongue, but he's got a tongue.
Does he ever? How did you fare on this boss to begin with, Snake? Did it give you a bit of trouble?
Yeah, it did when I first started trying to fight him as a kid, but then I realized recently the power of using the start button. Just press that over and over again so you can figure out what path Bow Spider is going to take.
Ah, okay.
That's actually a brilliant idea.
It's not as cool as using the start glitch in the classic games, you know, and just basically making projectiles fly through Mega Man and leaving him unscathed, but I'll accept it. It is acceptable in my eyes.
It's a way of gaming the system for your own benefit, so can't fault it.
I would say the victory music is great as well. In like X2 and X3, it's like, you've won. Go to the next stage already, you fucker.
In general, in terms of soundtracks, I don't think that X2 and 3 used the sound font to quite as good a use as X1 does. I think X1 just picks up the perfect melodies that work with it, and they layer the instrumentation appropriately. In later ones, it sort of feels like they were just overwhelming with certain instruments. Like in X3 in particular, like that guitar sound is in literally everything except maybe the ice level thing.
Yeah, well, they tried to go for a heavier sound there, and on the whole I think X3 soundtrack is better than X2's, but in both of them it was a while before I found like a piece of music I liked, so okay.
There we go, Hadouken.
Did really?
Yeah, he did it.
Out of all the Mavericks, you thought it was Chill Penguin who deserved the Hadouken the most?
Well, Boomerang sort of warps in and out, so he's harder to time it, whereas this is the easier one to, like, just hit him.
That guy was just waiting for his, like, guard mates to come along, and he killed him before he can even get in his ride robot.
He was in the fucking way, though. He deserved it.
Okay, I'll begrudgingly agree with Eager Archer, that is pretty cool. Like, you can, if you see one, and they're not in it yet, you can get in it. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, carjacking, like, X is the good guy, right? You know? It's always really convincing.
Well, he's the Maverick Hunter, not the law obeyer.
True, although he does get his own sort of ethical worries later on in the series. Like,
in every game?
Yeah, in every game, but I think it's like X7 where it gets to, and he just, the first half of the game, he just flat out refuses to fight. That's why you can't play as him until like halfway through the fucking thing.
Why did you design it with a Buster then? It's like designing like an alcoholic and his power is he shoots beer.
Well, I just kind of think that his name is on the fucking box, why can't you play as him?
Angry, guttural noises.
But yeah, given his plane crashed now, we've had to find a new arena for poor Stormeagle. He hasn't got a backup plane, he hasn't got his own Tornado 2, unfortunately.
I love he came in, Tails was just driving him. Okay, I'm going back to Sega.
Now he's even easier, now I've got the weakness, just shoot him.
I'd probably say that he's one of the most difficult bosses to use the fireball on, besides Boomer Kuwanger, since he teleports a lot.
Yeah, the Hadouken, the way you use it, it is the Hadouken motion, you know, down, down, right, right. And so you got that little bit of setup, and if you're as awful at inputs as I am,
Same.
then, you know, it's a little bit fiddly. So that's where I sort of gauge it as, is it easier to do that before he gets a chance to hit me, or is it easier just to fight him normally?
Well, that's where save states come in handy, my friend.
Well, for the sake of a playthrough, yeah, but just playing the game normally, I don't want to be doing that all the time.
Fair enough, right?
Oh, here we go.
Next Sigma stage boss. Why don't you take us through this one, Snake?
This is Rangabanga, or as I like to call him, Rangabanga Ding Dong. Basically, it's a wall with eyes and a mouth.
Well, it's technically a face if you want to get pedantic.
Well, yeah, I'll give you that. But the backstory behind this is that Sigma found this room, or rather wall, and decided he liked it so much, so I'm going to put it up as a decoration in my fortress of heavily armed rooms.
Huh.
So we get the ugly face wall, but we don't get the spiked wall. Like, and that's the thing, like, I noticed how the spikes at the bottom just sort of disappeared completely at the most convenient time possible, right?
It'd be funny if they changed that from Maverick Hunter X. Aha, they don't disappear. Fuck you!
I find Maverick Hunter X a more difficult game on the whole. That's partially because the control, it feels a little bit clunkier. But there's also some things that are changed a lot in that game in terms of just getting through it. Like the Hadouken in particular. In this game, we saw at the end of the last part, you just had to get through the level and land on that top section. In Maverick Hunter X, you have to get through the whole of Armored Armadillo stage without taking damage.
Wow.
Bear in mind, you've got that section where you're on the moving platform and you've got enemies coming at you all over. Like, I've never done it. I've never tried to do it.
I'd say the fault in Maverick Hunter X's controls lie mainly with the D-pad of the original PSP model, because on the second and third PSP models, the D-pad is much more comfortable to use, because otherwise you're going to have to use the little analog stick to be able to use the fireball.
Ugh. Which version of the game do you prefer, Snake? I assume you've played like the Super Nintendo one, maybe the Saturn one, question mark, where I think they took out the Hadouken voice clip if the only playthrough is anything to go with. I don't know if they were just emulating it and there was a problem, but it doesn't seem to be present there.
Well, let's see, there's a few other versions. The PC version for IBM computers, I've never played that.
Okay.
And then the crappy iOS port. Do not buy that.
That thing looks like a fucking Flash game.
It does. But I'd say, man, this is a tough choice. I'd probably Maverick Hunter X, because the story fleshes out X more, even though this game is mainly about jumping and shooting.
Yeah.
You're probably the only person I've ever heard who says they prefer Maverick Hunter X. I think the general consensus of the PSP one is that, like, it's an interesting alternate take on it, but it doesn't hold up. Like, that's what I see, and that's what I kind of see from other people who have seen covered the game. But Tom, in regards to you saying about the voice clip being removed, the one you're thinking of is in the US, there was a port on the PS2 and GameCube that they took out the voice clips for. I have no idea why they took out the voice clips, because, you know, Street Fighter is also a Capcom entity. I don't think it's going to be like a licensing or rights kind of issue.
I don't know, lol.
Unless it is one of these things where, like, one part of Capcom has no fucking clue what another part of Capcom is doing, which happens with certain corporations.
Won't surprise me. Oh, come on, don't punk him again.
I could have Hadoukened him for maximum overkill, but I thought I'd give him, you know, at least the closest you can give him to a fighting chance.
Oh, what the worst thing would be is to freeze him and then Hadouken him.
That wouldn't be fair.
That would be awesome. I probably would have done that.
Yeah, Snake don't fuck about. He kills them gangster style.
So basically a side fireball.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
turn my hands a different way.
Oh, water. We got water.
I wonder who we could be leading up to here.
Ah, Sigma, you show your true form. A giant squid.
He was a dolphin the whole time.
You're all going to die.
But yeah, same did this before.
Snake, tell us about that Mega Man cartoon you were watching earlier, mate, because we're basically fucking about until Sigma know.
While preparing for commentaries, I watched the Mega Man X episode of the Mega Man cartoon, and boy did I hate myself for watching it.
It's so fucking bad!
The Mega Man X episode was Vile and Spark Mandrill travel back in time to get some Litanium rods in the future because they're worth a boatload of money, and X travels back in time to apprehend them.
Okay.
And X is portrayed more as like a police officer or warmongering type of machine. Like, he's not the pacifist at all that he's portrayed to be. At all.
That's Ruby Spears for you. This is the same cartoon with the Lion Men, don't you forget?
Yeah. Screw that episode.
I've got to ask, would that have been at a time when Light would have been working on X? Because I'm wondering whether we've got a time paradox where there are two X's on our hands with that.
No.
That would have been cool, Flame. That would have been a cool plot for the episode, and now I'm sad.
Well, I mean, if some, lanky doo-doo makes LPs can come up with a cooler concept than the actual writers, that's worrying.
Well, you're literally Jesus. You should be able to will it into existence. But now we've got, like, fucking Ben 10 Mega Man edition. And, oh, damn, that was one hell of an Achilles foot, I guess.
Bet you regret that jump, fam. This is one of them stages that feels like it goes on forever, but thankfully we are now at the D-Rex.
Oh my god, I hate this boss. Well, hate's probably a bit too strong. I just find it a bit awkward, honestly.
It is a little bit. You've got to sort of get into a bit of a groove with where it's moving, because it has multiple things that it can do to inconvenience you. It rams against the wall and knocks you off, and it also fires out these, I guess they're sort of laser things. So as long as you get in the routine of let him do that, jump through him to the other side, then shoot your weapon, then you should get it mostly right, but there are still a few parts where it can suddenly change up his pattern a little bit and catch you off guard, like that.
So what's the story for this one then? Sigma found a dinosaur and turned it into a robot?
I'm not exactly sure, but all I know is it's a dinosaur-constructed tank that ends up getting remade later in Mega Man X3.
What, did it? Scanning memory banks. Oh, all the data was erased. Never mind, I guess I forgot about the game after I beat it.
Now this is the start of the end, really. We're going to go through multiple phases. What is going on here with these little enemies is if you're in need of some sub-tank energy, if you get Launch Octopus's weapon and fully charge it, then that turns into a shield, and you can just keep jumping at the same one over and over, and it'll just fill up all your power, all your sub-tank energy, and then you'll be ready to go for the 3 phases of Sigma.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you some free advice ahead of time. Hadouken the first form, Hadouken the second form. You'll thank me later.
I'm gonna do one of those.
Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing which one you picked.
Please let it be the dog.
Poor doggo.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's a dog.
Nice!
Yeah, because I do want to show the next form, because the next form is fucking stupid. And it's also during these scrolls I see why when I usually play this game, I normally just hold down the start button and ignore all the text.
You killed my dog, but can you kill me? Please kill me. I long for the sweet embrace of mechanical death.
I did see the one line of dialogue before the dogfight, and he said something along the lines of, I could end you, but I wouldn't want to deprive my pet of that. And you just think, if this was a real thing that was happening, and X had come all this way, fought down all these other Mavericks, all the other enemies that have been on our path, and then it was the fucking dog who beat him. How anticlimactic would that been?
Oh, Jesus. Does he have any relation to, who's that fucking black robot in, like, Mega Man 7 and whatnot?
Base, I don't believe he does. I think...
No, a lot of fans make him out to be, but no. Gospel or / Treble, it has no relation to Velgotter, the name of Sigma's dog.
Okay, bit of an odd name for a robot dog, but what are you gonna do? When I was trying to beat Sigma many times before I just abused the Hadouken, I got him into this pattern as well, because trying to fight him otherwise is a pain in the ass, a royal pain in the ass, if you will. But again, playing on a 3DS, even a 3DS XL, is gonna hurt your hands eventually, and so I started getting like hand cramps, and my hand slipped, and he hit me, and I died.
Couldn't bear the idea of trying to use 3DS's little right shoulder button as a dash, like, because I always map the dash to the shoulder button just because it's easier than making that awkward claw shape with your hand. But yeah, like, bear in mind I have only got an OG 3DS, so it's got that tiny little button. It just sounds like it'd be really uncomfortable.
Look at his tiny little head.
Yeah, I love this. I will say I do really like this final boss. I think it's a good challenging endgame boss. It's a pattern that once you work it out, you'll be able to do it. Like, there are a lot of different things that might take a little while to work out, to be fair. So don't feel bad if you die a lot on your first time, because it is a hard boss. But once you realise the pattern is he'll shoot either the electric attacks or the fire attacks, he'll lower his claw, or he'll move the claw towards you. That's when you jump on it, and then you throw the little armour thing. And to correct myself from earlier, this one that you used to fully charge to get the, the sub-tank.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I just did this in the 3DS version. I just camp on the hand and keep shooting the rolling shield and just use my energy tanks to power me up.
You don't fall off or anything?
No.
I suppose if you do just take the hits from the lightning, then you don't really have to leave. It's just because I'm being a bit careful here.
It's possible to Hadouken him in Maverick Hunter X, but he takes 2 fireballs, whereas here, he's invincible to fireballs.
SNES version confirmed superior, I suppose.
But yeah, there we beat Sigma's persona, and he's down.
I'm going back to the internet, but I'll be back with more furry personas than you've ever seen. A new age of furries.
A little bit about localization right here is that in the Japanese dialogue, he makes a vague reference to Dr. Wily by saying, "He told me it was possible to usher in a new age of Reploids," or whatever.
Huh.
That's interesting. There are some sort of allusions to Wily in later games, particularly X4. I know in the cutscenes you sort of see Zero's flashbacks to Wily. It's interesting they brought them like relations to it much earlier in the Japanese one.
What are you gonna do? That was Mega Man X. A pretty fucking good game, stellar soundtrack, tight controls which just allows for so much more freedom over the classic NES games, which isn't to say the NES games are bad in comparison. It's just that with the advancement of hardware comes the advancement of gameplay, you know, with the boosters and the wall jumping and, you know, the X-Buster and the charging your power-ups and whatnot. It's just a good time overall. I would say there's a few niggles here and there, but otherwise, I love X1. What do you think, Snake?
I'd say 9 out of 10.
Well, that was, you know, overall, but would you call it your favourite X game?
My favorite X game stands with Mega Man X4, hands down.
Okay, well, thank you for recording that for us as well. What about you, Flame?
I think X1 is probably the closest I've played to a perfect platformer. I love it so much. It's one of my favourite games.
God, we're going to be here for a while. Still scrolling.
Yeah, we missed the part where this was kind of a precursor to Sonic Adventure. You saw Angel Island falling, that's why it was, right? It's not just Sonic's brainwashing me.
I swear to fucking God, no more. I can't deal with this anymore. Okay, guys, we're going to start signing off here. So I've been Anton64.
I've been the Flameclaw.
I've been Samurai Snake.
And we shall see you next time for another HellfireComms playthrough. Goodbye for now.